Hello! Welcome to Jarviskjir, A Mother's Love, the show that has no technical issues, ever. Any rumors of such have been gravely exaggerated. How's everyone doing?
Just
I, for one...
Just a thought.
Oh dear.
Can we like generate an intro video that's like Queer Eye with all of us like dancing around?
I was talking to someone. I was talking to Dean the other day, Dean Doxy, about how this game should have an intro video, but it's a sitcom like intro.
Yeah,
and it's really cheesy.
Definitely.
Oh, it's like if I could animate, it would happen. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Maybe if the Patreons gets bigger, maybe that'll be a stretch goal in the future. Who knows? It's I would love it though. I really would. A Queer Eye one would also be good. That little jingle they have is
Oh, it's catchy.
It's been stuck in my head the last couple of days. Anyway.
I really like the Full House theme instead though.
That's what I would use. But like I'll get Dean to make a knockoff that sounds similar, but not quite exactly there. I'm glad to have my midweek D&D. I need it. My injection of dice and nerds and role plays. There's no Dean. He's sick. I mean, he's a sick man, but also he's unwell. Look, this is the worst part of all the streams: is me trying to not immediately fumble into D&D.
I enjoyed that. That was
some kind of small
funny.
talk.
It's funny because it's true.
He's got problems. It's like a
But
Jackson
everyone
Pollock
wants to
painting
see
in
him
there.
as a good guy.
Yeah. And he's just a knobhead. I'm too southern
One
for
after
that.
the other.
Let's play some D&D, shall we? Last week.
Oh, you said Dean. Sorry. Not
Dean.
funny.
We actually
Sorry.
said Dean quite a lot in that. That was it.
Yeah.
The joke! That's the joke!
Let's play some D&D.
Can we play a D&D game? It's like everyone is John, but you're all Dean. That'd be good. Anyway, that's a deep meme for the hardcorest of RPG nerds out there. Last week, you traveled into High Thundral, Erevael's homeland that he escaped from due to not wanting to be like them. With news that the usurpers are making attacks on the surface. Fitted with some armor, some magical items, and some Pegasi, you're now heading off to Fan Sheras, where apparently a discredited prince has spoke rumors of Drow that no one really believed because he's a discredited prince. On the road, literally where we left off, you got attacked by some owlbears because the ancient Aelenai forest is a magical forest that the elves call home, and the roads are dangerous. And that's pretty much where we leave off, where we start off. In fact, if you were, with you guys traveling the roads, I do have to ask if there's any sort of role play any of you want to do while you're heading along. The way to Fan Sheras is not it's not a road, but there is a path. You know, it's a fairly new settlement, so you need to do a little bit of off-roading, but it's not crazy.
Any sort of RP that we want to do.
Yeah.
How does erotic roleplay sound?
Please do. But we are not after Watershed.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry guys. You gotta wait 2 hours for that.
Lightning bolt. Alright, in which case I guess you just keep on going. As you're traveling, hunting and eating is effortless, like we described last week. Vale has a Pegasi now, and hunting from above is quite easy. He's a bowman. He can hunt from up there, and it also gives some practice to your Pegasus called Augur. All remembered. Hey, look at me, DM, remembering names. I don't remember what fucking Gilwyn's Pegasi is, but who gives a shit? He's not here.
Was it like Little Chap or something?
I think it's Little Chap, that's it. Because he's northern.
He's a boy.
He is who he is. You travel through the forests, heading towards this town that is just barely on your maps. I had everything set up great, and then I had to restart my computer.
That streamer life, though.
I know, right? It doesn't take you very long. This is a matter of a few days. You're already like a day on the road when you got attacked by owlbears. You aren't attacked by any other magical sorts of creatures. You're a little bit more careful about your future camp placements, and this isn't really one of those slowly trog through the forest, fighting everything on your way. It's mostly quite peaceful. This isn't really the kind of roads like you've been on before, where you would occasionally pass merchants or anything of the sort. You would occasionally catch glimpses that there's a little more to this forest than many. Two of you who have spent most of your life on the sea, fireflies flittering out of bushes at night would be enough to make you quite jumpy. And
There's more than one gets shadow bolt hits the firefly.
But someone like Vale and Gilwyn, this is fairly regular. When you reach Fan Shiraz, it is tiny in comparison to Thundrol. Thundrol was a vast, high elven city with thousands of years of history behind it. Fan Shiraz, however, appears to be a very small settlement. It looks like sort of almost like a ring of castle walls with elven housing inside, with a flying island much smaller than any of the ones you saw in Thundrol, that kind of haphazardly placed in the middle of that ring. It kind of looks like a fortress is like halfway built on that island. It's not completed, but some areas are more finished than others. And it's just clear from looking on the outside that this place is, a fortress. Defense first, comfort later. There's paddocks all around where the trees have been mostly demolished for horses to roam and feed and things like that. And you see plenty of little houses and buildings of the stable keepers who maintain and make sure the health of the war horses are in good quality. Going up to the front gates, and this is very much a front gate situation, fortified castle gates. The guards here are noticeably different than the ones at Thundrol. The guards of Thundrol, the Solar Guard wore golds and brilliant colours. The other guards would wear steels and metals with sometimes gold accents and yellow as their flag, their country colour. The guards here are wearing armour that at first you think is painted white, but What? I cut out, didn't I?
Yeah.
Da 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 da.
It's always when you're in the middle of a long bit of description as well, which is incredibly frustrating.
Frustrating? Or can we see divine hand in it?
Right, stream's over, go home.
No, I'll just add an extra monster to an encounter in the future, don't worry about it.
I'm a true believer.
The
cleric, IRL.
The armor of the guards at the gate is noticeably different, is what I was trying to describe. What you might think at first is white painted steel or something, and closer inspection is actually a white metal, a very pure and clean white metal, where they sometimes wear tabards of gold or even further white. This seems like a very deliberate choice to make them not look like the military of Thundrol. The rune that they wear on their armor is not the flag of Thundrol, and similar such. But the knightly way that these guards carry themselves, with shield in one hand and a very large sword in the other, larger than most people would maybe be able to manage, reminds you of the Solar Guard. There's clearly a little bit of twin appreciation. As your wagon goes up to the gates, you can see guards on top of the castle walls walking over with bows readied, but not knocking arrows or anything like that. Whereas 2 guards at the gate will walk up to your cart, looking in through their helmets, and ask, "Who goes here? Fansharas is not open to trade and visitors."
I was informed to travel here by the Lord Protector himself. He suggested that I meet with the young prince. My name is Erivail Valaner. I have come from High Thundro.
There's one of those moments where like they kind of adjust their helmet slightly, and similar to when you're in Thundra and that person realizes that you are a sun elf, the progenitor of their species, essentially, seen quite literally as divine, there's like a step back, and a muttered elvish blessing to the suns, and there's some nodding. It's like, one moment, please. No offense. And we'll kind of step up to the walls. There's some chattering from up and down the walls, all in Elvish. While you are allowed to wait for around 5-10 minutes before the gate is opened for you and you are ushered in. The same guard who saw you before is like, please, our leader, Aaron Alis, would be has been waiting for your visit for quite some time. Please make yourself comfortable. We can stable this carriage for you. Make sure that your horses are well kept, and your Pegasi.
Yes, best treat them with care.
There's It's clear once the gate is open and you've been wheeled in how small this community actually is. You know, there's clearly some stables inside of the castle walls itself, but this, I mean, you would struggle to even call it a town. You know, it's really just like a fortified village. There's a little space in the middle that is kind of grass, flowers, and where there would probably be merchant trade and stalls. But really, it's not being used for that right now. There are some soldiers doing sort of like morning exercises, which is a whole lot more graceful when it's elves doing it as opposed to humans or something. One of the knights will start leading you up the stairs, up onto the castle walls, and then up along what is admittedly quite a rickety rope bridge onto the half-built fortress that floats above the castle walls itself.
You truly do get the appropriate reverence, don't you, Vale?
Certainly now the time of age, it is a pleasant change. I suppose we are treated as you would treat an older family member.
Yes. I mean, it's only appropriate for a form of nobility.
Can you guys give me insight rolls, please?
Everyone?
Even you.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm starting today as I ended
no.
Monday's session.
Sorry,
Serena,
one moment. Thanks for the luck, Ian.
Serena, the first thing you notice, which is something actually Indira notices a little less, is that there are definitely wary looks towards the two of you. If the rumors are true that they have been fighting drow here, there is that assumption that you two are in some way aligned with the drow, just based on appearances alone. But that is counteracted by the existence of Vale, right? That's why you're not being attacked. But you notice people, you know, with their hands on their blades and things like that. Now, Vale, what you notice as you're walking up this rope bridge towards the fortress that has... Vale, you notice you're walking up the rope bridge towards the fortress.
Thank you.
Is that these soldiers are battered. This fortress has seen battle. Doesn't look like it's been sieged. From what you would assume, also given that you have a fair bit of military training, being that the Sun Elves are essentially, military tacticians, the soldiers here, who aren't in great number but are highly trained, have been sent out in sort of raiding parties, scouting parties and things. And when you're above, looking down, you can see the injuries. You can see armor that is being remolded because whoever used to wear it is probably no longer with them. You can see that they're producing quite a lot of potions to heal the wounded. And particularly, high elves do not have... Humans, dwarves, they hold some respect to, like, a battle scar, High elves don't. You see a lot of elves wearing their helmets deliberately to cover up a little bit of battle scarring that can be seen through it, and things like that. These are battered soldiers who are fresh from battle. The fortress that you walk up into is hewn from the very stone that the island is. It's basically like this big chunk of mountain that they're carving into slowly, using wood in some places, but mostly stone. But the floors that you're walked into are completed. There's beautiful mosaics, there's pillars. They're built in such a way that the light kind of streams through. In most places, instead of outer walls, it is pillars that sort of keep the floor above up and allow light to stream in, with areas for seating, which could also be used as, fortification for shooting down on anyone. Like a lot of these flying buildings, they're not built for being attacked by the air, because most people aren't going to be able to do that. But even if that's the case, they're still going to be pretty fine. It is really quite remarkable. You might think it better if you hadn't just been in High Thundral, ancient holy halls that have existed for thousands of years. But considering this is new, it's nice. The knight that sort of walked you in will stand by in a sort of parade stance not dissimilar to the Sun Elves before. And soon their leader, Aaron Alis, will enter the chamber from some stairs from above. He is a high elf. There's no real mistaking it. He's definitely paler than a lot of high elves, but he carries that elven grace that is sometimes a stereotype pretty well. He's not wearing heavy knightly armor like a lot of the other elves here. There's a little bit of this white metal in his clothing, but it's almost a priest's robes, but more accurately, diplomat's robes, for any of you who have met many. Unlike Sun Elves with long, glorious hair, he has long hair through the middle of his head, but the head to the sides it's shaved with these two very deliberate elven runes on the side, which, those of you who can read Elvish, translate to purity and tranquility on either side, which are also the runes which are being worn on the flags and armors of these soldiers. He looks a good deal older than Erevail. He's definitely a young adult. He hasn't got signs of drastic aging yet. And he'll sort of walk towards you with a slight wariness, but a smile and open arms. I have been waiting for quite some time for a delegate from High Thundral to come here. I am Aaron Alis, and it is a absolute blessing to meet you.
Erevail Valanair, the same, my prince.
I am a prince no longer.
Well, that remains to be seen.
I suppose so. But we are not here to discuss such petty politics that would have been all I would have wanted to talk about several years ago. If you are here from High Thundral, and with such warriors, I assume it is because you believe credence in the usurpers.
I have met the usurpers. I have been given a divine duty by my god. and I have been given a location. I was told you would know more. I need more to rouse the rest of the Sun Elves to battle.
He nods, understanding. His sort of he's slightly fidgety for an elf, not in a very distracting way. You can just tell he's always slightly moving. Usually his fingers sometimes sort of rolling on the ball of his foot slightly. He nods to you, understanding that, and actually turns to both Indira and Serena and says, "Now you two are far more curious, and do not allow me to offend you. That is not what I mean. I have had all sorts of strange and wondrous individuals within Fansharas, which, again, I would not have expected in my younger years. Please, who are the two of you?"
I am Serena, chosen daughter of the Empress. I have deemed Vale worthy of my support and my blessing in this mission.
Sorry.
Well, that ruined
Like it all,
the
Sparta.
Your cats have problems. He gives you a bit of a curious look. To try and work you out. He nods and then looks to Indira. Are you two also an emissary from this Empress?
No. I'm Indira. We're Indira the Storm if you want to be a dick about it.
I have been told many times by many people that I am, as you would say, a dick. But
Nice.
I try not to be when I can. Well, it is a pleasure to meet you, and I'm sure blessings, or each and every one of you. I know deeply of the usurpers. Let me put that plain. Not because I am some sort of spy, but because I have been watching them. I did not believe in them either until their presence in this forest became evidently clear. There are events in time that people would forget, that have forgot. There are battles that are happening now, that are being prepared, that would be devastating. I need the help of High Thundral. I know that it is only a matter of time before the usurpers go from small incursions to the surface to an all-out assault. But please, let us have this conversation somewhere much more comfortable, somewhere with wine. And he'll kind of motion for you to follow up the stairs. He leads you to what is would best be described as a study. It's not complete, like a lot of the places here. You kind of imagine that, like, these long-lived elves probably spend like hundreds of years getting rooms to be perfect. But there's maps, there's drow weaponry, drow armor. They're very strange. There's a suit of drow armor on the wall that you almost think is alive due to just this creepy demon-like mask that it's wearing with like curling tusks that come out, and this metal-brimmed helmet. It's very strange. It's like nothing you would have seen in this world. Even the drow you saw before weren't wearing armor like this. He kind of motions to it. The drow have very talented soldiers. Martial and magic means they have clerics that can call forth demons, devils, creatures of all sorts, and that is only the half of it. I would not expect you to know such a thing, but the drow, the usurpers, are only one part of the problem. The drow have signed... let me start from the beginning. Do you know what the Underdark is?
I have heard some rumors of a realm below ours. However, truthfully, I did not believe in it.
It is not entirely incorrect. do not imagine it like you would imagine the mirrors, or the dream, or the nightmare. It is not a realm separated by magic. It is very much material. Beneath our mountains, our forests go far, far under the earth. Are caverns and caves that make an ecosystem, that make kingdoms, where entirely different creatures exist and live. And you might say that sounds impossible, but it very much is. And the creatures that exist down there are cruel and pragmatic and exist via that cruelty and via slavery and via all sorts of dark machinations. The usurper elves escaped down to this realm because they were out of any other choices. And then they became a product of this area, of the Underdark, becoming as cruel as anything else. But that does not mean they are unintelligent. They are not just the boogeymen that stories would lead you to believe. Similar to how, in your history, the Sun Elves have signed allegiances with dwarves and men. They, the creatures of the Underdark, have founded a treaty. The Dark Elves, the Deep Dwarves, Mind Flayers, Darklings, Darrow. Creatures that exist in that dark place are rallying together because they want to take the surface for their own. They are rallying together better than any kingdoms on the surface could ever dream to, because they have this unifying goal of taking, enslaving, and claiming the bounty of the surface world.
If what you say is true, and there is a unified alliance attempting to take the surface, rousing simply the Sun Elves, or Thundral even, would not necessarily be enough to stop them. We would need at least the entire Elven nation if we were to stand a chance.
I very much agree, and I have been trying to garner the attention of your people fruitlessly. I understand, and again, what I say is not meant to mean offense, but Sun Elves have grown old and wistful in their castles, and they need to be shown a real threat. I can show you an outpost that the usurper elves have on the surface. I believe it to be one of the few. My men are few. My army is small. And its specialties are not going into the dark, so our purpose has been scouting, watching, waiting, trying to keep track of these creatures as they too are not trying to start a full-scale assault yet. Ironically, they are doing the very same, scouting, waiting, watching, but this outpost in a ruin is being led by a lieutenant who is not drow, and so is not as willing to wait, I suppose. I believe if I show you to this place and you can bring a bushel of heads to your masters, then that will start negotiations.
That sounds like a good plan as any. Have you... When you came out here, when you founded Fan Shiraz, I'm sure you never intended this. But now you have. You must return to the king. You must speak to him and make him see. The solar elves are too few. We simply cannot stop an invasion of any sorts.
He nods.
If you are the one to bring news to your king of the drow, and the Sun Elves back you, your legitimacy for the throne is secured.
You can tell that he was so close to saying, "I do not want the throne," but stopped himself. There's a little.
It is not something to crave. It is a service that you will render unto your people, whether you wish for it or not. We have both learnt by now that we cannot run from our destinies.
That is true. If you are the Erevel Vaelner that I have heard of, then yes, this is true. If we deal with the immediate threat, I can leave this fortress and I can talk to the king. We can talk to delegates from other parts of the world, perhaps. Perhaps. That's all I really have to say. I am not in the business of trying to tell the future. I think that too many of our kind get wrapped up in the future and do not deal with the present.
I will deal with this outpost. We will deal with this outpost.
Even
We
if
should-
it is a level above what we have fought before, it should not present much of a challenge for our skill. The previous ones we met, well, I was quite disappointed after hearing such stories of bogeymen, how quickly they fell.
Scouts are not warriors.
Of course, no, I appreciate that.
All you need to do is encounter a priestess who summons creatures from realms beyond. Gods of darkness are more willing to break the veil to keep their followers alive. You will find creatures from the realm beneath and realms beyond in the halls of Drow. So do not waltz into this outpost cocky and headsure, because that will be a sure way for you to lose your head.
They can try and take it if they so desire. It will not be so easy.
I have heard many a good warrior say the same. He kind of opens up one of the drawers, brings out what is clearly, a scouting party has sketched this map out through the forest to this outpost. It actually looks like it's by, a pool of water. Hard to tell if maybe it's a lake or something smaller. And sort of hands it. He kind of skids it across the table, actually, towards a lot of you. And nods. This outpost, if you are as grand as your mermaid thinks you are, then you should be able to take it out. And then we waltz back to Thundril as brothers in arms to talk about heritage and what is right and duty and all the things older elves would bark on about and now have to accept.
What of Velheim? Have you spoken with the Moon Queen? I know that historically the Moon Elves are diplomats, but they will not stand by if their brother race asks for help.
He smiles knowingly. Diplomats might be how your people choose to remember them, but they were the defenders. They were the shield while you were the sword. I have an in with the Moon Elves. I have an in with Velheim. I will send some messages. I am a very connected man, Erevel. I will unite Elf, at least bring delegates. That's all I can promise. I cannot promise armies in the future, but I can promise some ears. We return to Thundril. We return to the king. We return with many kings.
Looking at the map, you said it was fairly basic. Just
It's basic by Elvish standards.
Right. Okay.
It's easy enough for you to travel from here to there quite well. Why?
I was just depending on the level of detail on it, Serena would look at it and particularly noting the lake and say, so the level of detail here, do you know more of this, or would we have to speak to the scout in question to get a better lay of the land? I'm particularly interested in this lake.
I have not been here. I have not followed this map myself. I do believe in being on the front lines with my army, but only when the time is right. I would love for you to talk to the scout who wrote this map. Unfortunately, he returned to try and garner more of the size of the force there, and never returned.
That is reasonable. I suppose we'll have to scope it out ourselves then. But I have some ideas merely looking at this.
He nods and actually goes to a decanter and pours into a fine glass a clear liquor and brings it to his lips and says, well then, I would say good luck, but this is not a battle about luck. Fight well.
Omanator, give you strength in the trials to come.
He nods and imagine you leave.
Did you hear me? I sounded like a paladin. Oof.
You did great in there.
What can I say? Obviously, I just have a way with people, I mean, you know this, right?
I've seen.
You have experienced, no?
I have experienced.
Yes. My raw, charismatic potential.
I have to say, Vale, I've really taken for granted being in the presence of someone so important. And I know that sounds sarcastic, but I mean it. I feel impressive being your traveling companion.
Oh, well, thank you, Indira, I suppose. But I mean, obviously I am impressive, but not so much because I am a sun elf. More so because I am amazing with the sword. Amazing.
You're graceful in all things, Vale.
You are growing into your role. You are certainly becoming more noble almost by the day.
Well, that's good, I suppose.
It is indeed, Vale. It is indeed.
So,
All right. So sorry, I was memeing. You can leave the
naughty boy.
fortress. There's plenty of soldiers to talk about. He did mention that particular scout is missing. But you could try and talk to other scouts. You could see if you could fetch something from the war machine here. There's herbalists brewing potions to help cure the injured. There's a blacksmith working away.
I
What's the
feel like
plan?
potions would probably be a good plan. I don't know about you, but I don't think Vale's particularly stocked up.
I have nothing and no money.
Oh no, our sugar daddy's away this week. I've got no money either.
Well, let me open up Gilwyn's pockets, because he's here. He's walking around behind you like a big dope.
we can't just take his money. How much money do we need?
A regular healing potion costs 50 gold, usually. And you haven't gone to see here, but...
I have 2 healing potions.
What do I have? Do I have any?
But what you could try and do is talk your way into some
No.
potions.
Okay. Let's head down to this herbalist. Let's just play this by ear.
I can do this.
The potionist is an older elf, high elf. Everyone here is a high elf. Even in Thundral, the home city of the high elves, there was some disparagement, some half elves, some humans who travelled, wood elves. She's a little bit older. She's working with decanters and various glass pipes that are bubbling, glowing liquids into each other. With plenty of dried herbs. I mean, you always know a good potion shop when they've got the blue leaves of the blue lady plant drying somewhere on a rack or dangling from the rafters. And that's the best way to describe it. All of the buildings in Fan Sharas are kind of on the inside of the ring, right? So this is like this open air potionist who's working away in it, decanting things into little bottles. There's actually a ferret that is helping carrying things around. It's kind of a little champagne furred ferret, picking up herbs, dropping them in the right places, nudging bottles along shelves.
Bonded witch! Bonded witch!
I was going to say, where are my books? They're behind me.
You didn't tell
holding
me the
terrain
most
down.
important thing.
Whoops.
What gender is this elf?
It's a she.
I mean, you said she's a bit older. How old are we talking?
At a glance, she's probably 500 or so. So, old woman.
That's the best. Whew. Okay.
In her prime, Vale. In her prime. You know what they say? 500 is the new 50.
Whew. Had me worried for a little bit there.
It's actually one of those things that, while you're kind of like looking in from outside, the ferret kind of like sits up and looks at you. It looks like right into Indira's eyes. And then the potionist turns around. It's like, curious, you must be... Oh, well, our glorious leader has a habit of bringing in strange adventurer folk. You must be some new. Yes?
Indeed, we are. My name is Vale, and these are my companions. We came to inquire about some potions.
Yes, everyone does.
As you would expect, being a potion shop after all.
It is my specialty, but I can work on some other things. Enchantments, blessings. Lucky little trinkets to keep you out of trouble. But potions. I can grant potions.
God damn it, Doxy.
I tried really hard.
You said butt potions.
Well,
That was it instantly. Doxy was just like...
I'm really sorry. I'm sorry.
I would like the idea of Indira laughing at butt potions as well.
She might.
So, we are a little light on the funds right now. And I notice you have many wounded.
That's true.
So you must be very busy, producing potions of all sorts. However, we are heading to the outpost on the surface. Looking around from the battle scars, I presume you know which outpost I speak of.
Well, we have managed to take care of many outposts, but this is one that has remained quite steadfast. You see, many of the outposts are led by drow, but this one has a creature of the surface who hates the elves around here as much as anyone else. I have heard rumors of who rules that place, and while I cannot spare you any potions of healing, I can spare you something to fortify your spirit, both physical and mental.
What
And she kind of rattles
creature
around.
of the surface do you speak of?
Notes, notes, notes. I did have my notes open beforehand. While she's sort of she actually does have a bit of a pause because she's garnering up a potion that's kind of a dark brown. Kind of looks like, a whiskey or something, but it's a little thicker. I don't know what you're talking about.
We talk about butt potions, and then you say she's working on a dark brown potion.
There are many types of brown.
See chat for deets.
She says they call it Sepitan, a woman of such haunting beauty that she must not be looked upon. They say. I have heard of women like that before. These, and they're kind of in small vials, and she has 2 of them, can fortify all that makes you you. But use them wisely.
They would take one and hold it up to the light, give it a little shake.
In the light, it kind of turns a golden amber color.
Thank you for your help. You may well have saved our lives and that of many others with this information.
She turns back to continuing brewing health potions, taking the blue leaves and crumbling them to the sort of a thick gummy mixture in a cauldron, boiling it up.
So we got 2 of these potions.
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
You don't know.
Potion of heroism. I saw that cheeky grin. It's a potion of heroism. Let's put them in. Oh no, I don't have access to it. Let's put them.
Well, you've got 2 of them, so you could easily just hand them off to party members that are most likely to need something like that.
Who is most likely?
I feel Serena has a very strong self of who she is.
That's true.
I would say the 2 of you.
Vale's wisdom is trash. Potion.
I mean, it depends on what it's
question mark.
going for. If it's wisdom or charisma. If it's charisma, I'm fine. If it's wisdom, I'm still okay.
If it's wisdom or charisma, I'm not looking so pretty. Doxy, do you want to add a potion of question mark heroism?
Okay, I'm scared of it, but I'll do it.
Well, don't you trust this woman and a
Random
ferret?
ferret lady?
I trust the ferret. Potion. I'm calling it a butt potion. I'm sorry, I can't.
Hey, to be honest, it will make you remember what it is.
Potion of butt heroism.
That's what I need, like every night.
Butt potion. What do I
Also
do?
known as lube.
I ruin it.
Look, I knew what I was getting myself into when I invited you on this show. Right, what's next? Someone else can decide what's next, because he...
Let's leave.
To be fair, you don't really have any...
Okay,
I was just
yeah.
wondering if there was anything else you wanted to try and do here.
By the way, Indira would have been fascinated by that ferret the entire time.
It would have been, like, moving, but then looking at you.
I was gonna say the only thing is that we could do. We have a Pegasus, a flying mount. Vale could literally fly by during the day, during the zenith of the day, when the sun is right above. Yes, you might see a black dot, but you probably won't look up if you're a drow. Because, ow.
Yeah, that's fair. And
If
Pegasi fly very fast. You could do that like now. It's not incredibly far away from where this fort is. You know.
what do you guys think? My opinion is more information is better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also thinking if this thing is built, did the map say it was built next to or near
It
lake?
kind of looks like it's next to a body of water.
A body of water, yeah. Is it like close enough that it's using the body of water as a defense, or is
What it looks like is that it's in forest. I mean, this whole place is. It's kind of like an oblong structure with one side of it kind of up against this body of water.
Yeah, it was what I'm immediately
Not
thinking.
completely, but close.
We have two members of the party who are amphibious, basically.
That is a good idea. But the one thing I would suggest is we don't know what this beautiful woman is.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it
If
could
you
be
can,
waterborne.
the more information we have, the better. But
Yeah.
as like a general concept, that was immediately what I thought.
Yeah. I agree that that's the best plan, unless it turns out like this is, I don't know, a Nereid, something like that. A Medusa that swims, something like that.
Yeah. So if Vale can get a bit more information, yeah, that would be ideal. But we would probably want to get a bit closer as a group and then investigate.
You could start like traveling, and he could fly off and then find you again. You know, just to save time.
Yeah, that probably works.
It feels like, though, Indira should go with him in case he gets into trouble, since Serena is somewhere safe currently, and we could come back.
You can have Indira on the back of Orga, because he's a fully grown Pegasus. It's Dean's Pegasus that can't have someone on the back of, so you can do that. It would slow him down a little, but
even if Indira only weighs like 100 pounds.
Vale would obviously be against.
it's the armor. Armor and equipment and stuff.
Alternatively, we could potentially ask whether anyone has seen or knows what this, what was the name, Sapiarca, something like that, is. Because that's the one thing that I'm worried about, is we have no idea what she is.
I mean, hauntingly beautiful woman. I mean, I doubt that's going to mean anything to Serena, but Vale has learnt about potential foes for the Sun Elves. Does that ring any bells to him?
I would suggest that that's probably a bit too, like, obviously,
I mean, I know it's
very
vague,
beautiful woman
but-
that's dangerous to look at, but like, I would suggest that not only is it vague, it's not like an explicit enemy of the Sun Elves, and so obviously he would have been taught.
It's also
this is how you
a
kill a
rumor.
giant. This
So
is how you kill.
yeah. The enemies that like Vale has learnt about in school is giants and a beholder. And even then, that's less.
Yeah.
You've been taught how to. It's just we've done it. It's mostly been it's how you kill giants.
Yeah, I mean, if Vale is going to, what we could have, if Vale is going to do a flyby on his Pegasus to have a look, if Indira wanted to go with him and Vale allows it, then Serena could try and gather information from the soldiers. Probably with a bit of difficulty, considering how she looks, but just if we want to explore.
I agree.
avenues.
I think that's the best plan myself.
Okay. All right. So you two are going to go off on Orga while Serena
I
does some
guess.
scouting. Okay. I'll
Vale's
need-
very like hot and cold about letting you on Orga.
I don't have to go.
No, I suppose it would be pleasant for you to ride on the back of a Pegasus. Just, you know.
I'm not trying to trash on your traditions. I'm trying to make sure you're safe.
I am sure that that your huge axe will be extremely effective from 500 feet in the air.
I will stay with Serena.
Okay then.
Okay, fair enough.
Bale obviously doesn't grin or laugh at that.
In which case, if I was a good DM, I would have given you like a Pegasi stat sheet because you did ask for one. You just didn't ask for one in a time when I could actually do it. Can you, Mr. Vale, give me two things? A stealth check and a perception check.
I hate the idea of sending Vale after a dangerous, beautiful woman, by the way. Indira, probably not much more effective. But now she's all in love with somebody.
I mean, if you want
She's better
effective,
at controlling that kind of thing.
if you want effective at 500 feet, just take Serena along.
Well, too late. He's already gone.
Yeah. But then again, it's like I'm not sure how well I could sit on the back of a Pegasi.
Also, you probably weigh a lot more than Indira does.
Wow, are you calling Serena fat?
I don't have
No,
armor.
but mermaids are like crazy long.
Yeah, but I don't have armor, so it probably evens
Kinda
out.
evens
Yeah, it
out.
might even out.
Yeah. All right. We'll describe this after a break.
We'll describe Vale getting charmed and taken to his death after the break.
It's fine,
Hey,
because
ho.
whoever this is has to charm Olga and I. And Pegasi...
They're fucking dicks.
Pegasi